Hex, you know what I like more than talking about Dark Souls?
Nothing?
That's right, Hex, nothing. But talking about a Dark Souls clone is pretty close.
Fallen God, creator and destroyer of worlds, hear my vow.
Lords of the Fallen is a hack-and-slash adventure game that takes more than a few cues from the Souls series. Its lead developer is German studio Deck 13, who collaborated with Polish studio CI Games. With the Souls games being held in such high regard by its fans, this is an ambitious game, isn't it, Barjo?
Yeah, it's a big deal, and you get the feeling that Deck 13 are putting everything they've got into this game. And it's no small effort, especially from a team that, as far as I can tell, mostly make point-and-click adventures.
Yeah, quite a change of pace.
Indeed. And unlike the Souls games, Lords of the Fallen has a more traditional narrative. You play as Harkon, the world's worst criminal, and also its greatest hope. An evil force of demons have invaded a monastery, and you've been recruited to help fight them back.
Along the way, you learn more about weird experiments going on in the monastery and nearby prison. This has led to a dimensional tear, allowing an evil fallen god and his evil minions to teleport into the human world. It's a classic tale of people seeking power and messing with things they shouldn't. Luckily, Harkon is here to save them.
Yes, but there's just one problem. Everyone in this world is just a little bit drunk.
They say you fear no man. It's good to meet you. My name is Matthew.
Tell me about that constellation on your ugly face. I thought not. Let's both keep our secrets.
There's something strange going on here. I don't know what exactly.
I'm exaggerating, but that motion capture is pretty average.
Yeah, it's quite dated. And this guy isn't even upset that his arm's just been hacked off.
Wait. You're not one of the monastics. The markings on your face.
The voice acting and writing just isn't quite up to AAA quality, but I'm glad it's there.
Well, 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 look what the cat dragged in.
Part of the appeal of the Souls games is how little dialogue and story it has, so Lords of the Fallen tries to set itself apart in that way with a handful of cutscenes and plenty of audio logs.
These things keep coming. We fight back, but there are too many of them. It's sickening to see them move.
I also like that they have dialogue choice consequence options too.
If your men were better at their duty, I wouldn't be here doing their job.
Although how much impact these choices made in the grand scheme of things, I'm not sure, Barjo.
Yeah, it wasn't obvious.
Whatever you want, you won't get an answer from a dead man.
Seems it's your lucky day, altar boy.
Don't mind me then.
But let's get to the meat of this game, the combat. Oh my, I felt right at home, Hex. Lock-ons, backstabs. The panic when a backstab doesn't go to plan. Leap attacks. Rolls, shield bashes. Switching to two-handed. Sneaking mid-combat potting. Stamina management. Gear balancing. Movement speed affected by weight. Ah. Just drench those mechanics over me, I love them. It's all such familiar ground for Souls fans, but that also means it's going to be hard going for newcomers.
And I haven't spent as much time in Dark Souls as you have, Barjo, so for me this was a bit of a trial by fire. But once you get to grips with the weapon play, it's quite a beautiful dance of blocks, swings, a bit of magic, and some heavy hits. I just love the crunch of metal against metal and how satisfying it is when those enemies go flying.
Yeah, they've really nailed those impacts. I'm not normally a fan of swinging big, heavy weapons, but they just glide so majestically in Lords.
Yeah. And when you start to work in charged attacks with combos, it's compelling and rewarding to fight any enemy you come across. I especially liked how if you time combos correctly, it costs less stamina.
Yeah, how good are the combos? I usually find in hack and slash games when they get you to do these timed combos, you just get like a little crit bonus and it's always a bit messy, but not with this. There's just something about how they've timed the windows for when you can press a button and succeed that makes this a joy to chain blows. You can just swing those great big weapons all day.
It's strategically very heavy on stamina management too, which is a good thing. You always want to have just a little bit left for a roll or a block, otherwise prepare to die. And that can be a hard thing to remember too when you're used to so many other games having free dodges and rolls.
The weapons don't hit walls, they'll just go right through it, so it doesn't have that kind of environmental impact that we're used to with the Souls series. But the locations and fight setups are all pretty solid and will cause stress. You'll often be faced with heavily armored enemies that you just have to keep bashing away at again and again until their guard breaks, especially if you have weak magic. And then you get these fast-moving scary guys, which are quite intense, but the scariest of all is indeed the Warlock. Oh, his death rattle killed me so many times.
There's not a huge variety of enemies, but they do have interesting creature design and solid AI. It'll make you stop and think about how to approach each fight, especially the bosses, which are exciting and challenging to take down.
It's good to see that the boss fights have multiple stages too, and I quite like the little indicator in their health bar to let you know the next stage is coming.
I quite like this guy who slowly sheds all his gear, and then does a move which I can only describe as fabulous. There is a lot to discover in the combat. You only get a few text tutorials and reminder screens in loading, so even working out how to put some points in and use magic isn't obvious. And that frustrated me a little bit, Bajo.
Yeah, me too. They just have vital hints that are so easy to miss.
Yeah, and I think magic is so important, especially for breaking those big shielded guys. I really think it needed more explanation.
But having said that, it is all part of the discovery process as well, and I did like that moment when you first learn you can hold up a shield and charge enemies. Out of my way! I think my favourite part about this game is the world design, which is all interlocked, like Dark Souls 1. Go one way, suddenly a door will open, and you'll be somewhere that you've already been. There aren't many unique landmarks to help you remember where you've been, though, and I found that frustrating.
Yeah, and many of the locked doors and areas don't seem to have much logic to them either. In particular, this area, which is guarded by super hard enemies. When you finally make it to the door, you get a magical barrier blocks your path and no other information, and then it randomly opens later. Ugh.
Yeah, but it is exciting when you've been wandering around for ages and then you see a place and think, I have not been down that path, let's go. But yes, all those paths need to be more obvious, and that's my only real major criticism of this game. For example, right now, I'm actually on the final boss of the game, but I just can't get to him because there's some lever I can't find. I need to find the lever. Where's the lever, Hex?
We reviewed this on PC, and there's quite a modern flair to the visuals. Nice backgrounds, lots of particle effects, and nice textures too. And great cloth, Bajo.
Dare I say it?
No, cloth.
Yeah, man, it's too early to tell. Way too early to tell. It took me a little while, but the art style really grew on me, Hex.
Me too. Some of those areas are just breathtaking. I like the shields as well, truly demonic.
All the gear looks great, and I love that there are sets. Whenever I see that there's a set of something, I need the whole set. Even if I'm never going to wear it, I just need it all.
Yeah, I like that you can look this awesome just a few hours into the game.
Boss. There's heaps of gear too, and a solid room crafting system to mix things up a bit.
Yeah, you can tell they've worked hard at balancing gear and weapons as well, especially swing speeds.
And when you start to get epic and legendary gear, oh, it gets fun. My favorite go-to weapon was the delightfully referential My Axe.
We did have a lot of stability issues keeping this running on full. It needs a lot of hardware grunt, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty resource hungry. Even a top-of-the-line PC is going to struggle on full. Eventually, Hex, I kept losing so much progress, I had to put settings down to medium.
Oh.
I know, medium! Ugh, it upset me!
It's important we mention this issue, but please be aware we were playing this on pre-release code, so that can happen.
Yes, and we haven't tried the console versions, which are usually a bit more stable.
This is naturally a very challenging game. They've angled for challenge over punishing, and this is evident in the XP and death system. The longer you hold on to your XP, the better your loot drops will get. Die though, and your XP falls to the ground, risking losing it altogether.
You can pick it back up again, or use a consumable to get it back instantly, and I didn't like that because it's totally easy mode. But if you go back to where you lost your XP and don't pick it up, it will actually regen your health and energy. XP is always leaking from your drop point too over time. Great tweaks to the system, and another thing to separate it from being just a clone.
Yeah, this isn't as big or as complex as the Souls games, and it has its rough parts. Also, it's not as long at around 15 hours. But there are those nice little mechanics that separate it enough to make it worth your time. It's still a dark and brutal game, which is good, but as always with this genre, it's not going to be for everyone.
Yes, I think you're either in this camp or not.
I think personally I'll be more on board with this style of gameplay in the future as this type of RPG evolves that little bit more. I like that you can't just waltz your way through. It's a real shift in how you approach hack and slash.
Yeah, it's so nice to have a game where the enemies are better at killing you than you are at killing them.
Look, you can tell this has been made with love, and imitation is often the highest form of flattery, and this has been polished in the places that matter. Hard-hitting, high-risk combat, so I'm giving it 7 out of 10.
I just find it so encouraging that a game like this exists. I can't even describe how exciting it is to see those Souls design ideas and philosophies starting to fracture out into other games. I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Not you again. Leave us alone.